Hey everybody, short video. Well, I always say that, but they turn out longer. Some minor projects here today. One being that I've never had a battery hold down as long as I've been driving this car around, which is a pretty dangerous situation. So we're going to tackle this and a couple other things today, so stay tuned. Thanks. Okay, so the what I have here is supposed to be the authentic battery hold down bolt and retainer. This is a BHD03, which I got at Dante's Mopar Auto Parts. So imagine it goes somewhat like this-ish. Yep, this-ish. So let me see if I can put the camera in a good spot, and we'll see about getting this thing installed. So I guess the first thing we'll do is to get these battery terminals off. I also bought a ring for this, and we'll install that too, because this is not a really good situation for this this wire. So let's start by taking these terminals off. So this, I believe, is the proper orientation for this battery hold down, and the kit includes like a longer, shorter and a longer rod, shorter, some washers, and these thumb screws or wing nuts. There is a hole here in the battery tray, and I'm assuming there is one in the firewall somewhere, and we'll get a better look at that when I remove the battery. So let's get that out of the way, just so we know where all the holes are. And so I'm assuming it's, let me see if I can swing it around here a little bit. I'm assuming it's this hole here. Don't think it is that one. So let's kind of see how this works out. I'm going to put the rods. So in my eye, I would think that it would be the shorter one that goes here. You see that? Oop, there we go. And maybe that does go there. I don't know. Let me play around with this a little bit, see what the best way this is. It's pretty obvious that this one is going to be for the other side. I guess there's a different mounting holes, or somebody drilled more holes in this battery tray, but that's what we got. So I'll be back. Alright, so this didn't go as I had hoped, but it is secure, not flopping around, so that's a win. I wound up having to add a washer here. I really didn't want to drill any more holes. Obviously these batteries, this is a small battery, but in the day I would imagine this battery came up a little higher, and that gave some more clearance for this. The threads didn't actually go down far enough on this one. This side looks pretty good. The threads are just barely enough, so I'm good with this side. So all in all, I'm pretty happy. Kind of fits this car anyway. Nothing's done perfect. So what I have to do is take a hacksaw and take these off a little bit, so we have some clearance when we shut the hood. But yeah, that's that. Let me show you one other thing I'm going to do. So I have to address this bare wire. I wound up picking up some of these ring studs. So I'll crimp one of these onto that and crimp it to the positive terminal, or attach to the positive terminal, so that should take care of that. So we will be back and I'll show you progress. Okay, so there's the done job. Yeah, hacked up the bolts so they're not as high, and wound up putting a new terminal on the negative side here. So I'm pretty happy with that. It's a lot more safer. Also put the get that wire properly set here. All right, so that's it. Next thing I'm going to do is fill up the gear oil in the back, and we'll be back with that. Okay, next project. I don't know if you guys remember a couple of videos ago, I think it was the one that was entitled about whether or not the car was overheating, and I heard some whining, whirling type of sound. I've kind of narrowed that down to the rear end. I think that I need to add some more of this gear oil in there, maybe running a little bit low. And I did actually change the gear oil because, again, I don't know if you all remember that it was leaving spots on the garage floor. So I assumed that it was leaking from the cover gasket, but that wasn't the case. I put a new cover gasket in, and you can see on my finger I am still getting some leakage here, and I think it's this. There's a pinion seal in here. I think that eventually needs to be changed, but I think also, and it's a little hard to see, but up here on the axle there's a vent, and that was frozen up, and I was able to free that up. So apparently it needs to breathe a little bit so it doesn't leak. So what I'm going to wind up doing is taking this cover off. Way you do that is with just a regular 1/2-inch socket, and it fits in there, and it takes that cover off. And then let me show you a nifty thing that I bought, because I had a heck of a time trying to get the oil in here the first time. You're supposed to fill it up till it just starts to come out this weep hole, or this hole, this fill hole. So let me show you a tool that I bought. So I wound up buying this little pump. I got this on eBay, but then I went to the auto store when I went to go pick up the gear oil, and I saw that they actually sold these in the parts store. So you may get a better deal. But this is from Slippery Pete, or Slippery Pete. And this does is you can actually put this on top and use the straws, and you can pump the oil into the rear end, which makes it a lot cleaner job. I wish I had this the first time, because I wasted so much of this oil spilling it all over the place. All right, let me get set up. All right, this works a treat. Much easier than trying to do with funnels, and I'm not getting any oil coming out yet, so I think that this thing was pretty low. So I'm going to continue to do this until we start getting some weeping out of that hole. Sounds like a medical condition. Okay, as you can see, it's starting to slowly dribble out, so I think that I'm at the top now. So I'm going to try to take this out without creating a super mess, and put the pin back in, or the plug back in. Okay, we got the plug back in, and as you can see here, here's the line for the oil that's still left in the container. This is a quart container, and actually the fill capacity, which I read in the manual, is 2 quarts. So it was an entire quart down of gear oil. So I'm hoping that will take care of my whirling sound. So why don't we button this thing up and take it for a ride and see if that is indeed taking care of that issue. Well, good news, everyone. I was able to take it for a test spin, and that whining sound has has definitely gone away. So that was the issue. It just didn't have enough gear oil in the rear. So that was tackled. Got the battery hold down completed. Now the thing I'm trying to work on now is working on this fender line, trying to get this opened a little bit more. You can see up top that it's really not much room here, and then it gets a little better, but then a little worse. And the byproduct of that, I don't know if you can hear it, but I've actually was able to adjust it a little bit. It was worse, but it's binding up there. So what I'm trying to do is move the fender forward a little bit, but for the life of me, I've taken out every bolt that I can find, including it's starting to rain here, of course, every time I start to work on the car. Bolts down here, bolts under here, and then bolts along the side, but that darn thing will not budge. So we'll leave that for another project. It's starting to rain. I gotta put my tools away, and that's it. Till next time. Bye.